Subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss an update from eTimes TV.
Welcome, Madhura. Welcome to eTimes TV. This is Sukarna. Glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
So, during this pandemic, what life lessons have you learned?
I feel like the pandemic didn't really make a very big difference to my life, because I feel that I had learned my lessons way before the pandemic hit. But I'll just say, like, a lot of my friends now have started to feel what I had been telling them for a very, very long time. I always feel like life is very, very short and very unpredictable, right? I mean, today we saw the entire world battling through pandemic for almost 2 years. It's going to be, right? And nobody saw it coming. And that's just a pandemic, but it could be something else. It could be, an accident. It could be any unfortunate incident that, we don't see it coming and it happens to us. So I feel like we need to live in the present, which a lot of us forget. Like everyone, all of us, including me. Sometimes we just go to bed thinking, we're going to wake up the next day and do this. But who knows? Are we actually going to wake up or not? I mean, the importance of life and the importance of every little thing in your life. I mean, knowing that and being in touch with yourself is very, very important. People forget that life is a blessing, and people forget, and they're always cribbing, and they're always so frustrated and unhappy. And I feel all these things that all these emotions that bring us down, I feel it's just that we victimize ourselves, and these are just excuses. Whatever life condition you're in, I'm sure there's a better, path waiting for you. You just have to walk it. So a lot of people, don't see that, and a lot of people are not open to these things. I feel that's one of the most important lessons in life, is that life is important itself. And the second thing is time. I mean, like I said, time is something we have and we don't have. So what you do with your time is very, very important. I mean, the time you spend with your friends or your family, or doing something you love, or something you're passionate about. So I think like people need to create time for what they do. So everyone who is doing music and art and cooking in the lockdown, well, that can be done in your day-to-day life as well. You need to maybe remove a Sunday or a Saturday for it. You don't need a lockdown to feel good about yourself, to do something nice which inspires you or motivates you, And then so many things, like just importance of family, like importance of your close friends, importance of who's good for you, who's not good for you, importance of all the toxic people in your life. So all these things, I'm sure these things must have hit a lot of people during the pandemic, because you have so much time to think. A lot of people don't spend time with themselves. So I'm quite a loner. I mean, literally my life is almost like a solitary life, I'm always at home. I'm most of the times with my family. I go out every evening to meet my friends. But other than that, I love spending time with myself. So I feel like all these things are so important in life, which we all forget, because we're always running a rat race, doing our office jobs from 9 to 5, and like completely blinded and programmed by what the society has taught us. But that's not what life is about.
You also had COVID. How did you cope up? How was your recovery journey? Did you face any difficulty at that moment?
I had it at a very initial stage. So the reason why I know that I had it, because I got my antibodies tested and I had them. But at that time, like I got it at such an initial stage where literally they were just doing the lockdown, the first lockdown. And at that time, we didn't have COVID tests. Maybe I had it like 2 weeks before that. And I was diagnosed, my condition was diagnosed as bronchitis. But I had all the symptoms of COVID. I've lost my taste, lost my smell. I had a very difficult time breathing. So how I coped up with that was just, I mean, by the time I got to know that I had actually gone through something like that, had I known at that point that, you know, I was battling through COVID, I think mentally I would have slowed down. Like mentally, I would have panicked and probably not been able to handle it the way I did, not knowing that I had COVID. So yeah, I feel like it's more difficult to cope with a disease when you know you have like a disease that is life-threatening.
And like, are you living by yourself? Are you living alone? Or
No,
you
I
are
stay with my family.
So I
I
think
stay with my.
and that is also easier, like during your COVID journey, that must have helped, like being with your family.
Actually, my mom was taking care of me when I was sick, and my mom got it too. Like my mom was sick after that for like maybe almost 20 days, 15 to 20 days. So yeah, of course, it's easier having family by your side. I know a lot of my friends who were alone, and you know, one of my very close friends is a photographer. He was all by himself when he had COVID. So I was always checking up on him, but his was not that bad. And fortunately, he's over it. He's now fit and healthy. But yeah, I can imagine if you're alone, it's going to be very tough to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
In a way, it's good because you're not gonna give it to anybody else. So, in a way, I feel like if I were to get it again, I would definitely isolate myself because it's difficult to, you know, also be in touch with your family knowing that they could get it.
Right.
So, family does help. It's a blessing, to be honest. I can't stay alone.
And talking about life, have you been through any personal loss or pain that has made you more self-aware or taught you a lesson?
You know, I feel everyone goes through a personal loss by the time you're 30. So I have been through. I have seen death very closely. I have lost somebody close to me. I've lost my dear pet, and so I lost a friend of mine, and a very young friend of mine. And when I had to deal with losing my friend due to unforeseen circumstances, you know, that taught me quite a bit because he was the only son to the family. And he was, very ambitious. He wanted to do so much with his life, but unfortunately, his life had come to an end at a certain point. And that incident really hit me. I mean, that incident kind of changed the way I think because that made me realize, you know, like we don't know. Like I said, we don't know when life just comes to an end. It's very unfortunate, I'm not saying it can happen to everyone, but when it happens, then you have no control of it. So I have been through that. I feel that is the biggest lesson that I learned when I faced that situation.
Last year we saw you were painting and you were selling your artwork to help the needy. Have you again taken up art or something, or are you pursuing a new hobby this time?
No, I've always been painting. Like I have so many paintings in my house. As a child, I was always painting. In school, I was always getting like awards for paintings. And so painting has always been a hobby of mine. I have too many hobbies. I have multiple hobbies. So I paint, I love to sing, and I've recently started playing the piano. So I'm self-teaching myself because I don't have a piano teacher yet. Yeah. So painting is something that I've always loved, and because of the lockdown, I had so much time to sit down and make these sketches, and I made like 15 to 20 sketches, and I was like, I don't know what to do with these. So I put them to good use. I said, okay, whoever is the highest bidder will get one of them. So I got a lot of my friends to do charity work, and then we kind of distributed food to people in the first lockdown when people really didn't have their day-to-day food and couldn't cook or whatever, gas issues or whatever. So we were going into the slums and looking for people who are in need of food. And that time my parents were panicking quite a bit because they're like, why are you doing this in the pandemic, in COVID? What if you get infected? So it was a risk, but it was a calling for me. I really wanted to do it.
Madhua, over the years, being in the entertainment industry, being an actress, building your own image, building a name for yourself, how cautiously have you tread to not fall prey to any untoward advances?
I don't know, like for me, I have not really ventured out of TV. I've always done TV. I've always been associated with Star and Life OK and UTV. So I have never faced something like that in television. But I did have one such situation. I don't want to name the person because I don't want to create a controversy. But I was with this agency, and there was they had assigned a manager for me, and she was a female, of course, and she was accompanying me, and one of the producers, he was acting really funny with me. So I'm the kind of person that I can't take any bullshit from anyone, whoever the person is. So I gave it back, and my manager's like, why did you say this to him? Why did you react like that? I said, what? Are you even saying this to me? I said, you should be doing it. I'm doing your job. You should have been saying something, but you didn't, so I did. I mean, I'm going to stand up for myself. I feel a lot of people put up with that because I feel women who are, in maybe situations where they can't support themselves or they can't really stand up for themselves. Maybe I'm just thinking, it's just a thought in my head. Maybe they've left their homes and cities to come here to Bombay to make something of their lives, and it's very difficult in this city to survive. So maybe people who are coming from such circumstances and situations, I feel those are the ones who kind of, don't know how to react to these situations or don't react to these situations. So I feel it's very important. The more women start talking about these situations or these advances, I feel like men will get scared and stop doing it. I feel it can come to a stop. I mean, we've come to an age where all these things happen with mutual consent. I don't think in today's day and age, especially in Bombay City, anyone can force you. So if someone has forced you or someone is putting you in that situation, I feel it's very important to stand up and talk for yourself.
Being an actress, you are an entrepreneur as well. Which is your fun zone and comfort zone?
Which is my fun and comfort zone? My comfort zone is my business. I mean, my fun zone is, I like shooting and I like, coming on screen. But More than that, I like creating something. So when I'm creating something for myself or I'm building something for myself, I feel that gives me more pleasure and more, I feel more content making something or creating something by myself.
Any thought of coming back on screen again?
A lot of people keep asking me, that why am I not coming back on screen? I have been getting so many offers, literally. I have been refusing them left, right, and center. Because I'm still not vaccinated and I'm waiting in line to get vaccinated. I'm actually waiting for the guidelines so I know which vaccine to get. And I don't want to go on set and shoot if I'm not vaccinated, because I'm going to expose myself to so many people and then I'm going to come back home to my family. So that's one of the reasons. The second reason is most of the studios have shifted so far. I don't know if you're aware, like a lot of television sets have gone to Mira Road and Naigaon, which is like almost an hour and a half from where I live. And that's my second reason I hate traveling. And the long hours, I don't know why. Like we're still shooting 12 hours. Like actors who are doing television are still shooting 12 hours a day. I feel as a human being, I feel 8 hours is a good shift. 12 hours is just basically grinding yourself. And you can do that when you're young. You can do that when you're like in your early 20s. But after a point, you really can't, if you keep working 14 hours and 16 hours a day, then you don't have a life. And that's what I felt. That's why I turned to business, because I'm like, I can't do 14 and 16 hours every day, because I was literally working 14 hours. Even if I was doing 12 hours, I was spending 3 hours traveling. So I was doing like a 15 to 16 hour every day for 28 days a month. So those 2 or 3 days I had off, I would just sleep. I would be like, I don't want to meet anyone. And that was one of the most, that was the biggest reason why I kind of, started drifting from it. And then it's content, like I'm very choosy about what kind of, content do I want to associate myself with now. Earlier, I would do all the shows. I was very happy to be under a big banner like Balaji or whatever. But now, if I don't like the content, if I find the content is too sleazy, I will just refuse it.
Is that also a reason that why are you not delving into OTT shows? Because many actors are opting.
Because I don't want to associate myself with content which unnecessarily has these kissing scenes or making out scenes. Or we're in the 21st century, but I'm still I still come from a very conservative Indian family, so I don't want to do anything that puts my parents in an uncomfort zone. So I don't. That's the reason why I'm staying away from OTT. I'm doing OTT where there is no such content. I have just finished a show with Rajneesh Tukkal and Shishir sir, and we're waiting for that.
So tell us, like as you said, you are a loner. You love being lonely in your own space. What about love and marriage? Generally, like women, once they hit 30, like family, friends, relatives, they all keep hounding the girls to get married.
My family is pretty much like asking me the same question, like, why aren't you getting married? Why aren't you like getting married? But a lot of my family, friends, they all ask me this question, and this question is very, very like, I've heard it so many times now. It's a very regular question to me. So the thing is, I don't want to get married just because I have to, or just because I am, in my 30s, and I don't feel pressured because I feel like for me, marriage is about choosing the right partner. So until and unless I feel like this man is the right man for me, for many reasons, because I feel like, you know, when you're getting married to your partner, it's very important to see how both of you are going to align yourself and, you know, build a future for yourself, because there's so many things. I mean, it's not like a child's play, and I feel like I will only marry the person who's apt for me, or somebody I can really, you know, vibe with, or my thoughts match with his. So I'm waiting for the guy. I don't know where he is, but
उसके लिए मिलना भी पड़ेगा बाहर जाके, and you
oh
like
yeah,
we can't step out.
I'm not stepping out at all. एक पहले तो I feel like 10 years of my life went in studios. Now I'm at home. I get this question a lot, like why haven't you still married anyone? And I'm like, dude, I spent half my life working 14-hour shifts in a studio, and the last thing I'm going to do is, you know, marry a director or an actor. It's not my thing.
So not from industry.
No, I'm definitely not looking for someone in the industry. I would prefer outside.
Outside, and it's arranged setup. Are you okay with that?
I'm definitely okay with an arranged setup as long as I get to know the person. If my parents introduce me to someone, and if I have a, you know, like I feel like this guy is a good match for me, then why not?
Okay, chalo. Thank you so much, Madhura, for being with
You're
us
welcome.
today. Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Stay safe and get
You stay
vaccinated
safe
soon.
at home.
I hope.
Yeah. All right.
Chalo,
Bye.
bye.
Ciao.